Good evening, I am Nisha Charles and I'm your presenter for today. Thank you for joining me for SAT TV News. Among the major developments, one man is dead after a vehicular accident. Crime declines in Jamaica. Israeli troops open fire killing one Palestinian. And in sports, Exodus Football Club continues to win in the 2012 DFA Division 1 competition. Details of these and other stories after the break. Thank you for staying with us. Now for the details of the news. Invest Dominica Authority, the IDA, and the French Consul, Hervé Nizard, will host a number of French nationals from November the 24th to the 26th. The purpose of the visit is to promote Dominica as an investment destination and to allow potential investors to network with local companies. Senior Investment Promotion Officer at the IDA, Ms. Hermina Augustin, says the French Consul, Mr. Nizard, helped them to identify these key people who would be interested in Dominica.
What Invest Dominica has done during the last year or more is we have been trying to identify people who we can reach out to. We had to do something a bit more proactive instead of sitting and waiting for investors to come to Dominica. So we are well located here between the two French islands. We have already ongoing collaboration in trade and other areas.
The visit will also provide the opportunity for the group to enjoy the beauty of Dominica as a vacation destination. One of the French nationals invited to the gathering is the regional director of Air France. Local businesses will also be there to grab their opportunity to speak with these people and hopefully form partnerships.
Some people are looking for partners in their businesses, so you can have this collaboration with French and the local, or the French even having some interest purchasing land or starting up business based on the sectors that we promote for investment. We have several sectors, several areas that are ready for investment, and we just need the investors to come in, and obviously Invest Dominica will facilitate them, will assist them with concessions or any other benefits that they need to start up business.
Other potential investors include the heads of a manufacturing company, head of a chain of supermarkets, head of the Chambers of Commerce in Guadeloupe. Invest Dominic Authority is hoping that some partnership agreements will be made with Dominican firms and business opportunities will follow.
And sometime last year, about a year ago, we had done an initial visit to both Martinique and Guadeloupe. We had done that in collaboration with our deceased Jeff Joseph, and we had already met some of this type of people. So we now have some who are willing to come to Dominica at their own expense. Some of them have never visited the island and they want to know more. We have a lot of things to offer to them in terms of business. We need to inform them about the investment climate. We need to let them know that Dominica is ready for business. We are ready for investment. And we have to start off now. Now is the time to do business in Dominica.
She says with the severe economic recession, we need to create jobs for the Dominican people, and that by the time the economy has started up again, we would be ready to do business. In more news, the Ministry of Social Services, Community Development and Gender Affairs held a press conference to launch the 16-day activism to end gender violence on Friday, November 23rd. This was held under the theme From Peace in Home to Peace in the World, Let's Challenge Discrimination and End Violence. A clip was shown to inform the people of the seriousness of HIV and AIDS.
And besides, with all the talk that's going around about AIDS and HIV, you don't care about that too, man. Sonny, I tell you already, I'm safe, man. I'm safe. You're safe? You're safe? You don't use protection then? Oh, me? Protection? You madman. You think I is a cricketer to use balls, protectors and pads when I bat in now? I tell you already, when it comes to big people business, I like to go flesh to flesh.
Permanent Secretary of the Social Services, Community Development and Gender Affairs, Mrs. Esther Thomas, says more and more emphasis is placed on us when it relates to coming together to create peace and unity and to stop discrimination and violence.
So we seek to present you this morning with all the stakeholders who are going to champion the 16th day of activism We have with us Ms. Brown from the Bureau of Gender Affairs and her staff, Ms. Durand. We have Mrs. Murphy from the Dominica Association of Persons with Disability, and for us it's very important for us to have them, mindful that we are seeking an inclusion of all persons with disability in the development process.
Mrs. Thomas presented the partners involved in gender development, gender equality. She says the main focus is on peace in the home and world, as well as seeking to challenge to end discrimination and violence against each other. Ms. Rosie Brown did the presentation of the events.
Since 1991, there was the move by international organizations, including the UN, to not only advocate and observe the day, November 25th, as Day to Reject Violence Against Women, but that because of a number of other observances during the period of November and into early December, that are very key in terms of the concerns of social concerns, the concerns of violence, the concerns of discrimination, and serious issues that we face.
Here are some details on the upcoming activities.
So from Sunday, November the 25th, we will be having, which is actually the 16th day of activism. And what we have done, we kind of bold the days, the special days in the 16-day period, this period. And we have the church service, which will be at the Methodist Church. And we also have the tent. We have Orange Day, where the young people, the youth forum, especially the CARICOM youth ambassadors, will be meeting with young people to discuss concerns.
The list of activities is broken into 4 categories, which are Orange Day, World AIDS Day, International Day for Persons with Disabilities, and Human Rights Day. The 16 days of activism campaign against gender violence will end with a panel discussion on issues pertaining to violence in Dominica. And in more news, one business owner is seeking the public's assistance in recovering items which were stolen from her business place. Ms. Lillian Piper, who is the owner of the Glam Day Spa and president of the Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce, said that her business was burglarized in the early hours of Thursday, November 22nd, and a number of items stolen.
Mr. Larrock, this morning was not a good morning. I woke up to a call from a neighboring business saying that they had some evidence that some items were on their property from my property, and I said, oh, please don't tell me that I've had a robbery. So I came over right away, and sure enough, we found one of our entrance doors had been maneuvered open. So I called the police immediately, and I must say within 15 minutes, the police was here. We reported that electronic items were stolen, my computer system, stereo, flat screen TV, etc.
Ms. Piper stated the items that were stolen were critical to a small business, such as her own, and needs the cooperation of the public in getting them recovered. She said the electronic equipment stolen is in the range of $3,000 to $5,000 and she needs all returned.
Any theft is a tough one. Of course, physically nothing happened to myself or my staff, and for that I am very grateful. But when you think about a breaking and entering, you feel a little violated. And then of most importance was the fact that the computer system held a lot of my proprietary information. So that was of most concern to me. In fact, I was offering a reward, and if I should recover that item, I am still hoping that I can find the person who may have made any report of it so that I can personally thank them and reward them.
The items stolen are a desktop computer, a 20-inch flat screen monitor, a keyboard, a cash drawer, an LG 32-inch flat screen TV, a Sankey stereo system, a hard drive, and other small items. Ms. Piper says such petty theft are very stressful for business owners and is a thing that should not take place at all.
Speaking on behalf of the DIC and the business community, it is something that we deal with, from outside and inside, and it's something that we really, really have made a priority, in the business chamber, and we're really looking at that in terms of assisting with a tip line that goes straight to the CID office. If you see or hear anything, that you can go ahead and call this tip line and make an anonymous tip. And then also Crime Stoppers is being formed. There's a board right now, and there's significant activity being done to put Crime Stoppers in place.
She says that she has no idea of the motive for someone burglarizing her business place, but one of the ideas is that the Christmas season is around the corner. Thieves are desperate.
It's part of every business. There's almost there's almost a markup that you have to add to your product just for loss prevention. Most businesses are aware that there is concern and there are things that you need to put into place for loss prevention. When it comes from outside, it's hard. It's significantly harder. So I think that as businesses, as the business community, again, we are putting crime as top on our list of priorities. We know that it's a concern. It's an emotional concern. It's a physical concern. So we know that there needs to be some things put into place. And
Ms. Piper says just when she thought her business was secured, this burglary was a perfect example of how no matter how much you think you are safe, there's a lot more that can be done to stay protected. Anyone with information which will aid in the recovery of the items can call 448-4099, 449-3149 or 275-2374. And in more news, the Dominica Public Service Union held a meeting with its members on Wednesday, November 21st, where one of the outcomes was the rejection of the government's proposal of a 1% increase. The DPSU also gave the government a deadline of December the 14th, 2012 to come to a mutual agreement in salary negotiations. However, the government has stuck to its position so far as the 1% increase. In a statement released on Thursday, November 22nd, the government stated, in accordance with its mandate, has been negotiating with the Dominica Public Service Union and other public service unions in good faith in an effort to arrive at a conclusion of negotiations for a collective bargaining agreement for the second and third year of the 2009-2012 triennium. It also said having agreed on a 3% increase for the first year 2009-2010, as well as on other non-salary benefits and 1% increase for the second year 2010-2011, negotiations focused on the third year of the triennium, in respect of which the government offered 1% increase and the union at the negotiating table countered with a 2% increase. The government's negotiating team was not in a position to accept the union's request for a 2% increase, and in an effort to seek to bring negotiations to a conclusion, undertook to examine the union's proposal for additional non-salary measures if the union were to accept 1% for the third year. Having emerged from the fiscal crisis of 2002 to 2004 and having had to take exceptional fiscal measures, including a stabilization levy of 4% and 3% and a reduction of the public service salary, wages and allowances of 5%, the government cannot now take steps to in respect of salaries, wages and conditions of service which are non-suitable and which could contribute to driving the country back into a fiscal crisis. In that regard, note should be taken of developments in the region and further afield, where in an attempt to cope with a fiscal and economic crisis, governments are forced to ensure measures resulting not only in increased taxation, but in reduced expenditure, including a reduction in the size of the public service and a reduction in the salaries and pensions of government employees. Consequently, government is cautious about approving any additional measures that would cause the country's fiscal and economic position to reach a precarious level and so affect the lives and livelihood of the citizens of the Commonwealth of Dominica. This information is being provided to ensure that the government's position on the matter of conclusion of wage and salary negotiations for the 2009-2012 triennium is widely communicated and understood. And one man is now dead following a fatal accident in the community of Maho in the late afternoon on Thursday, November 22nd. Acting Police Public Relations Officer Inspector Richmond Valentine has details on the incident.
About 2:45 p.m. on Thursday, November 22nd, 2012, motorcyclist Brent Lewis, 33 years of age of Maho, was traveling in another direction along the highway when he lost control of his motorcycle registration number PL937. He fell off the motorcycle and in the process collided with dump truck registration number TJ037 belonging to Dominica Water and Sewage Company, Dowasco, which was traveling in a southerly direction and at the time being driven by Silbert Sarah, male adult of Maho, resides in Massac. Brent Lewis was transported to the Princess Margaret Hospital by the fire and ambulance services where he was pronounced dead by the doctor on duty.
Both vehicles received minor damage. In more news, one man is currently nursing injuries he sustained following a vehicular accident on Wednesday, November 21st. Acting Police Public Relations Officer Inspector Richmond Valentine has the details on the incident.
Police can also confirm a traffic collision which took place on the E.O. Highway in the vicinity of the Focoli bus stop about 11:20 a.m. on Wednesday, 21st November 2012. Involving bus registration number HE527 and motorcycle registration number 675. At the time of the collision, bus registration number HE527 was driven by Frederick Rock, mid-adult of Loda, while motorcycle registration number PF675 was being ridden by Donnell Henry, mid-adult of Maho. Donnell sustained injuries to various parts of his body. He was transported to the Princess Margaret Hospital and was admitted.
Bus registration number HE527 was extensively damaged, while there was minor damage to the motorcycle. Investigations into the matter continue. And in an effort to control the recent increase of non-communicable diseases in Dominica, the Sports Division has been hosting a series of health walks throughout various districts. Sports Officer Mr. Godwin Dorset says though the very first health walk turnout was slow, the others have been much greater.
The Sports Division is holding its fifth health walk of the series of health walk around the country, and on this time we are moving to the Marigot Wesley community. Okay, so on Saturday the 24th of November, officers of the Sports Division, friends, villagers will gather at the Hilltop Garage in Marigot, where they will commence at 8 o'clock the health walk, fifth health walk to Wesley. The walk will take a route from Hilltop through the main road down to Manasseh Wall, and from Manasseh Wall you take a left into Dam, 4 Road, back street and back to the main road.
Mr. Dorset believes by just taking a 30-minute walk every day, it will keep the body healthy. In addition, he stated that walking is a gentle, low-impact exercise that can ease anyone into a higher level of fitness while combating many illnesses. The Sports Division encourages Dominicans of all ages to practice healthy lifestyles and invites members of the public to participate.
The Sports Division is encouraging all persons or in the area to come out and support, participate in this health walk. The objective of this health walk is really we are trying to sensitize the general public of the ills of the non-communicable disease and how hard the Dominica community has felt it, because we have been suffering from a number of non-communicable diseases such as hypertension, diabetes, asthma, all of these areas, all of these which can be cured by physical activity.
He added that since this will be held in his area, he has very high expectations.
My expectation is quite great. I have rounded up a number of persons in this area, and many of the groups that are in this area I know of, so I'm expecting a wide turnout from the persons in that area to come out and support the Sports Division, participate. However, as you may know, the walk is not really dependent on the number of persons that come out and support it. What we at the Sports Division really want to do is to show the people, let them see, let them understand the things that can happen, so that they themselves can in turn go and do it on their own.
Mr. Dorset also informed SAT TV News that a meeting will be held for the Northeast sports officers and leaders on Sunday the 25th in Saint-Sauveur.
Well, the Sports Division for a number of years now has been trying to moving swiftly to try to develop sports in the country. And one of the areas we see that is necessary, that is formed, is the village sports committees. And so for some years now we have been holding activities for that set purpose. However, it is very slow in coming.
The sports officer is urging citizens to take these events seriously and participate. We now go to Deslin for a special report.
Thank you, Nisha. As part of Boys Awareness Week, the principal of the Massa Canefield Primary School has organized an activity for the students. On November Friday 23rd, the Massa Canefield Primary School held an activity where the fathers and sons came together and demonstrated their wooden-built trucks. Principal of the Massa Canefield Primary School, Mrs. Elizabeth Xavier Daly, says every year there are different activities, and this year there was a slot in the calendar in the Ministry of Education which was meant for Boys Awareness Week.
We started Boys Awareness Week on Monday the 19th, where we had our boys taking the assembly, and let me tell you, this was really good. The boys were so vibrant, really, really good. And we had a father who was supposed to talk to them, but you know, with a little mishap, it did not materialize.
Mrs. Daly stated that the climax earlier in the morning for spelling competition amongst the boys in different houses.
We had our spelling competition before break. Then later on we had a mental mathematics competition among our boys. We had them in 3 categories: the infants, the middle section, and then the seniors. And let me tell you, this went down very, very well. And now today at this time, after 1:30, we asked the fathers to join their sons with the small trucks and then what you call the caboose.
There were over 60 trucks presented, and she says she's extremely pleased with the turnout. The students were divided where the infants were in one section, the middle school in another, and the upper school added. She added that all of the fathers were the ones invited. The mothers came to give their support also.
And these are the things we need to advocate in our community, that we must take time out for our boys. We need to plan activities for them, so in the long run we can reap the fruits and the benefits of what we're doing for them.
Are you pleased with the participation so far?
Oh, I mean, we are overwhelmed. When we saw the number of trucks which came in, and every minute of the day somebody's coming for another truck, it's like, oh my God. And not only the participation, but the creativity. I mean, parents went all out. You could see the different trucks, the old-time trucks, the Bedford trucks. I mean, it reminded me years ago when I used to be on those trucks.
Ms. Xavier says on behalf of the staff, this was a great event to get the boys to bond with their fathers. I'm Deslin Joseph reporting for SAT TV News, and back to you, Nisha.
Thank you, Deslin, for that report. And as part of Universal Children's Day activities in Dominica, the Social Welfare Division held a concert on Thursday, November 22nd at the Arak House of Culture. The theme for this year is Stop Violence Against Children, Real Men Don't. The concert was geared at displaying the needs of children and helping the men in particular to respect those needs and not violate their trust. Ms. Candice Benjamin recited a spoken word piece that explained the seriousness of crimes of violence against children and what the consequences are.
Voices. Voices. Hear the voices of the children crying. They're feeling like they're dying. Some have been trying to be perfect. Others just think they're worthless, wondering if they've got a purpose besides being beaten down on, misused, abused. Confused is a little girl fused with her father, feeling rather scared, her future smeared. And every night as she lays on her bed, these thoughts are running through her head. Real men don't take away their little girl's innocence. They feed them with enough sense to keep away from friends who want to steal it.
The St. Luke's Primary School came on with a cultural performance in patois. They encourage parents to love their children, look after them, and report anyone who violates their children's rights. This was the main message throughout the week of activities for Universal Children's Day. And lastly, there was a dance performance by Miss Jadzia Collier about how violence against children affect them dramatically. She wants everyone to know that violence hurts and it should end today.
Tell them just how big they are, I pray.
And as part of the observance of Caribbean Tourism Month under the theme One Sea, One Voice, One Caribbean, a Tourism Career Day was held on Friday, November 23rd. This was in conjunction with the Ministry of Tourism and Legal Affairs, Discover Dominica Authority, Dominica State College, and the Dominica Community Tourism Association. Mr. Daniel Reel, Acting Chief Technical Officer for the Ministry of Tourism and Legal Affairs, says this is a time for the public to meet with players in the tourism industry and be more aware of career opportunities in the sector.
We invited participants from the public and schools to be represented here. And importantly, we have members of the class of the Dominica State College who are manning the different booths and tables, and they're interacting with the public and giving information on tourism-related careers.
The ministry is trying to create awareness for the tourism product, and it is the main player in Dominica. Being a very fragile industry, Mr. Reed wants all stakeholders to get on board to continue to build the sector.
For us to continue building it, so the more persons who have an interest, especially students who have an interest in going into a career in tourism and also to have their own businesses in tourism, it would help to build and develop and sustain this very vital industry for Dominica at the moment.
Ms. Vanille Theophile is a tourism student at the Dominica State College. She is eager to be part of the day's activities because she wants to know all that she can about career opportunities in tourism.
In Dominica, we know Dominica's tourism product is a nationwide venture, so therefore tourism plays a big part in the development of Dominica. And as a tourism student, I am very interested and want to see Dominica improve in the tourism aspect and to better Dominica so that more tourists can come here and that we can get a better revenue from the tourist arrivals, and to educate myself more on the tourism and what my surroundings, my environment.
Herbalist and organic farmer Mr. Ray Almond wants tourists and Dominicans alike to know more about the herbs in Dominica and their uses. He says his business is one that is welcomed in the tourism sector because foreigners are intrigued by his farm.
For example, we have stevia. It's the sweetest plant on earth. It's 400 times sweeter than cane sugar. And you can use it to sweeten your tea. And also it's sugar-free at the same time. For people that have diabetes, they can use stevia and it reverses the effects of diabetes.
This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.